My name is Charity Akpabey, and as you can see, I am just excited about technology and how it is changing lives, especially in Africa, including me. I had to learn coding from an art background in University of Ghana because I had to read economics. I was not really introduced to the coding landscape, but after school, even after my master's, I decided to switch careers and then dive into the whole coding and programming to create platform for tutors to meet parents and teach them. And also the most important and the one that is dear to my heart is She Techpreneur, which is creating a platform for women to tell their stories. So that is really about me. And on a consulting basis, I work with a consulting company called the VGC Group. And we have actually managed digital experiences for 5 to 6 figure companies, some successes in Africa. Most of our work has been partnering with international organizations like the UN, to help African businesses. And I think that is where our strength really lies. On a normal day, I work as a digital business consultant, and I also help clients streamline their processes using softwares like SAS and then Tech2 as well. So that's just a little bit about me. Thank you.
Thank you, Charity. We are very honored and excited to have you on the panel with us. Nee, would you introduce yourself to us as well?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Neo Tinkwan. I'll say I'm an HR professional. Also interested in people getting to do things right on the compliance aspect of doing things. And then with regards to employees, I ensure that both the employer and the employee have a fair share and a good cordial relationship in the office. When I'm not doing HR privately, I work with a consultant and an HR organization known as OML Africa. As the name indicates, we are all around in Africa. We are in Ghana. We do some work in Nigeria, in Gambia, and we are hoping to help businesses ensure that their human resource needs are met with regards to training, outsourcing. We do audits, recruitment, talent management, general consulting. OML is the place to be. So at OML, I act as the business sales and people manager, where I'm in charge of driving the sales strategy of the business. And with regards to the people management, I have clients that I manage their HR services for them.
We're very happy to have you, Nee. Thank you so much. Joseph.
Hi. Good evening to everyone. My name is Richard Joseph. Sometimes I find it difficult explaining what I do, but I'm just going to try to put that all in one. I work in so many capacities, but I think all of them just revolve around solving problems. Firstly, I work as a business designer, so I try to help organizations find the right path to help achieve their business objectives. That's one. And secondly, I lead the Digital Times multimedia team, which is a digital media agency with a focus on innovation, technology, and entrepreneurial insights. Just focus on educating Africans about what is happening around the entrepreneurial landscape in Africa.
Once again, a very warm welcome to all our panelists, so to Charity, to Nee, to Richard. We're very excited to have you with us. Before we dive into the questions, I just want to go over the program once again. So this is going to be an hour's program. We would have about 30 to 40 minutes to just walk through and get a brief overview of what digitization is, what worker wellness is about, and how businesses should be thinking through these concepts. So I'm just going to dive right in with the first question. So our topic for today really combines two central aspects of business operations. And to dive in, I'm going to just ask you, Charity, first of all, what is business digitization and why is it important?
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Edo. I hear you saying digitization. That's this digitization, there's digitalization, and there's digital transformation. And most of the time we just use it interchangeably, but they all mean to 2 or 3 different things. So when we talk about digitization, it's actually like the basic of everything. And that means like taking stuff that is manual and physical and putting it into a digital format. So probably instead of using a paper, you are digitizing the content into a Word, right? But then the context where I'm speaking from right now is the business digitalization. And that is more like using digital technologies to make life easier for a business, especially the parts that are very repetitive, monotonous, and boring at times. Okay. It is very focused on specific business areas that you feel is dragging the process of delivering value. There is just a little, this concept is a little bit different from a whole digital transformation, which like translates to maybe the whole business model of delivering value to a customer, which is mostly digital. Okay, so automation then becomes a major part of your business digitalization agenda in your company. So for instance, we watched a video about Kadana, about the man in the school and him getting all the stuff that he could have done on a manual basis almost immediately. And we can almost hear digitalization in that process. That has actually taken a whole monotonous and repetitive something that would have cost him valuable time in his work. Okay, another example I can give was actually the time where we started to build a platform for tutors, that's eSchool Finder. And we realized that we were so small, like 4 to 5 teams. Most people actually doing their homework, and we're trying to build the supply side of the business. That means that all of us have to attend to a lot of people, right? So when we put out a call for we want tutors, we got just within a week, just a little over 500 applicants. How are 4 people going to manage all these people? It was quite very difficult, right? So quickly with my skills, I put in a whole system automation and walked every single participant or every single applicant through the whole process. And today I can tell you, all we see is notifications coming in that this person has entered into the automation and is at this stage. We just go in and check what is really going on. And now we are reviewing and adding people one after the other. So I think that is a classic case of digitalization, of setting some places of your business that are too much of a repetitive and won't give you too much value to at the same time. So why is this very important? Through my examples, you can see that digitalization of your business increases the accuracy, like the issue of the Kadana pay. You get data. At first, data is fragmented all over the place, but this time around, you are getting data at one place. And as a data analyst, I quite understand what it means to have a bad data, which also translates into a bad analytics and then bad business decision, which is going to cost you, right? And there's also the quality and speed. There's rate on return and company growth. And then most importantly is worker wellness and safety, which I added recently, because trust me, you can't keep on doing the same thing over and over when you could actually focus on growth. Before it says that more than 40% of small businesses report consumer growth thanks to digital tools, right? And businesses that work with digital transformation or digitalization are also twice as profitable as those that do not. I can give you examples in our progress in building eSchool Finder, right? And then also McKinsey also says that CEOs spend almost 20% of their time on work that could have been automated, right? On work that could have been automated. What that means is that there is actually some form of issue on growth, like I said, right? And also there's also the issue of data. So I think these are the main touch points that I can give, and I hope that explains the concept.
Thank you. I really especially liked the use of your statistics at the end, because it's really compelling to see. I think what you quoted, that businesses that automate are twice as profitable. That is a really compelling. So thank you so much for just walking us through that. I would throw the next question to Richard. So just based off of what Charity has said, and also just based off of your own experience, how has digitalization become even more critical to businesses over the last few years, right? What are some of the trends that we've seen in this field that makes digitalization even that much more important for businesses?
Okay, trends. I mean, anyone who says he or she hasn't seen what the world has become as a result of COVID-19, especially in the wake of digitalization, would be a sleeping horse, right? Because things have changed. A lot of things have changed. I mean, work has changed. Our culture, people culture has also changed. And it all stems from digitalization. We could see, I think during the height of the pandemic, we saw that Zoom and other video conferencing products made more money, right? And things have just really climaxed since then. Thinking about education, everyone was at home. You had to have some form of access to digital tools and services to be able to connect to the world, right? Those are the trends in digitalization. A lot of things have shifted. So many numerous examples to mention, right? Why has it become extremely important? I mean, the time for digital is now. If you don't hop on the bandwagon now, then there is no future for Africa, particularly. There is no future for the world because everything has become interconnected. Everything is connected. We can speak about Internet of Things, right? I don't think we really enjoy those benefits here in Africa, but if you think about the European world, everything is connected. From the moment you are done at the shopping mart to the moment you get home, everything is just, I mean, aligned. Think about health and wellness, right? For all those who use Samsung devices and iOS devices, right? Everything is on the cloud. You walk every day, your Samsung watch, your smartwatch records your health status and has it on the cloud. And that's the future. That's where we are going to, right? And the trends in the field is really, really enormous, and everyone can see it. It's visible, right? Let's talk about businesses in Africa. It is sad. It is saddening that COVID-19 brought about a lot of transformation with businesses, education, even government, and all of a sudden we are going back to where we came from. Like we are going back to 8 hours at work, 5 days. It doesn't make sense. I sit and wonder where we are getting it wrong, because we need to build a culture that really embraces digital, and we are not doing that because of our known cultures, right? And that's going to be a major challenge that businesses are going to face in the coming future, right? So how digitalization has become critical to business success is that, well, we live in a world that's connected right now, and if you are not up on the cloud, if you don't use any sort of digital tools and services, you're way behind in the Stone Age, because you can't even say you're in the 18th century, because a lot of digital stuff even came up then, right? So it is very, very much important and critical that every business, every person around the world, around the globe, hops on the digital bandwagon, because it is what defines the future for Africa. It's what defines the future for the world. It's what defines the future of growth for everyone.
Thank you, Richard. So we're living in the 18th century if we don't have digitalization. But I'm also thank you for bringing that up, because you realize that it's especially in light of the pandemic and in light of lockdown that a lot of businesses are really reaching to figure out like what digital tools are available to help us to really just keep working while our workers have to stay at home and while we are not able to congregate in the same physical space, right? And I think that has also just had a toll on workers as a whole, because you're sitting in your house, but then you have Zoom, you're expected to be online, you're expected to always be reporting to someone. Even in that comfort of your space, there's no more sort of this office work home divide that a lot of people use to naturally balance their lives. So this next question naturally goes to Ni, our wellness expert on this panel today, about how should, in light of digitalization, right, for both businesses and for workers, how should businesses be thinking about worker wellness? And even as a tool to drive productivity, like what does worker wellness look like in these times of business digitalization?
Thank you very much, Guido, for that. So I was speaking about digitalization. I agree, but it all boils down to the individual. Here we are going to speak about the employee. So employee wellness basically refers to the collection of initiatives. So how am I, as an employer, how am I able to ensure that my employee is living or promoting a healthy lifestyle? So this is going to be a sort of a recurrent activity. It's not a one-off activity. With regards to employees, one way of trying to ensure that employers or employees are in a safe space. When I say a safe space, I'm looking at the various dimensions of worker well-being. I'm looking at the emotional bit. I'm looking at the financial bit. I'm looking at their physical state. I'm looking at even their intellectual state now. You realize that with the coming in of digitalization, a lot of people tend to work more. And this is having a strain on their physical well-being. Let's not talk even about the mental or the emotional state, because you realize that if you are working in an organization, a typical example is when you are working in a business or before COVID, you used to go to work at 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning and close either at 5 or 6. But with the coming in of digitalization, it's making employees work much more. So as a business or as an employer, how am I able to engage them to ensure that these change in behavioral patterns or change in work, how is it affecting their well-being? Here, you realize that when an employee is disengaged, or when an employee is not well, is not handling himself well, or is not promoting a healthy lifestyle, you are going to have a lot of issues. One of these issues is you are going to get a lot of absenteeism, a lot. They are always going to call in sick at every point in time. And this is obviously going to have an impact on your turnover. I'm talking revenue turnover. How much money you are going to make at the end of the month is obviously going to get reduced. So with low absenteeism, you have more profit. With high absenteeism, you have lower profit. And even when it comes to even productivity, we have people, we call it presenteeism. They are in the office or they are in the space, but they are not working because they are either nursing an injury, a pain somewhere, kidney issues, heart issues, so they don't give you their best, but they are present in the office. And at the end of the day, you realize that you are going to move the job that a lot of people are going to do to a smaller few people in the team. And this is going to ensure that they are going to have stress issues because they are doing more than expected. And this is obviously going to have an impact on them. One of the ways we can, employers can try and improve this is to put in these wellness programs. So when I say wellness programs, what am I talking of? You know that some organizations have tried their best to bring in certain activities, like going for, they sign their staff onto gym. So they are affiliated to certain gym organizations or facilities that their staff go and train and ensure that they keep themselves fit and healthy. One of the things they also do is they also have people in the health sector come in and speak to them. So with one of our clients currently, what we are doing for them is that we are speaking to them on how to ensure that they live a healthy lifestyle. You don't only do aspects of counseling when you go and talk about how to earn your 1 billion after pension, or how you live a comfortable lifestyle. Worker well-being or employee well-being planning is part of your retirement plan. Because if you don't do, or if you don't engage the employees to properly take care of themselves, at the end of the day, you realize that they are going to, they work for you, and then in turn, they are going to be visiting the hospital. Some of them even have a shorter life span. So with regards to employee well-being, you realize that all aspects, your supervisors are involved, top management is involved. It's supposed to be a deliberate strategy or a deliberate activity on the part of management. How can we improve it? Or why should we improve it? You realize that when you do that, your turnover reduces, the life expectancy of your staff increases. You're also able to have more enrollment. And even the most of all, morale at workplace. I don't come to work today and see Charity, and tomorrow I don't see Charity and I see Dido. Then where do I stand? It puts the business in an uncomfortable space. And even for me as a business person, where I do a lot of sales, you realize that if your sales force is not healthy, you go and start a conversation today, and you realize that tomorrow another salesperson goes to continue that same process, which means that he or she is starting the cycle again, because you have to ensure that you meet the person for the first time, introduce whatever, and build that relationship with the people. So a few things that we have to think around when it comes to employee well-being. Thank you.
Thank you, Nee. I actually learned a new word from you today, presenteeism. I've never heard that one before. But also, I think it's really, thank you very much for sharing that. It really has to be a deliberate strategy. I think a lot of us just take it for granted that our workers will take care of themselves and they just have to come to business and work, right? And we don't really understand that there's almost a direct correlation between how well or the well-being of our workers and direct influence into our revenues and our growth and value proposition as a business. So thank you very much for that. So I guess for anyone joining us today who didn't know about business digitalization, who didn't know about worker wellness, I hope these have been great introductions into the topic. At least you have a bit of a working knowledge. I think it's time to dive into something a bit more practical. So I'm just going to throw the question to you three to just let us know, how do you incorporate business digitalization and how do you incorporate worker wellness in your own business? What are some of the 3 checks that you make? What are some of the processes that you take to ensure that you're always practicing these strategies or practicing these concepts well?
Great. Okay, so let me come in, even though I'm just going to run around a little bit about the wellness thing, because of course I also do in fact, everyone works virtual, especially during the COVID times. Okay, so around the COVID time, there was this term that was buzzing all over the place, I think it's called digital wellness, something like that. Okay, so I was looking at the statistics, and then I was in India somewhere, and I think that it's almost the same everywhere. So in India, within a week of the start of the nationwide lockdown, the number of cases of mental illness had grown by 20%, as reported in a research by the Indian Psychiatry Society. Even counseling firms in India reported a 35 to 40% increase in cases of stress and panic attacks versus previous months. Okay, so the researchers are saying that the continuous flow of news, notifications, emails, virtual meetings, and social media updates, coupled with mandates to work from home and stay inside, are taking a toll on a person's overall well-being. Okay, so it shows that stress and anxiety and mental illness are having a toll on productivity, and that the experts are saying that could actually lead to a 16.3 trillion economic losses by 2030. That means that if there's nothing that is done, just like our wellness experts spoke about, we are actually going to go into a level of burnout. I'm saying this and I can identify with this because I work virtual from the office when COVID had started. Now I had to work from home. I thought, oh, I had freedom to do anything I want. You know how we talk about the automation expert and stuff. But burnout and stress began to have some kind of impact of me. At a point, I could just work for 2 hours and I just can't do anything again. No matter how hard I try, I have to go and sit down, relax, go out and stretch, before I can come back. So I can really identify with this, right? So these were some of the things that I think our company did, and I feel that it was great. The first part is that we kind of gave chance for a digital detox. Okay, so we encouraged our employees, especially during the second wave, we told them that put your notifications off, please. When you come to work, maybe at 8 a.m. by maybe 12, take a break, 1 hour. We won't call you, we won't get back to you or anything. Watch a movie or do something that you really love. Okay, and then you come back, and when it's time to close immediately after meeting, then we ask people to go, and then we encourage them also as well, right? And also there's also the place for personalization and customization of workers' well-being. Okay, so there's this part where some people are taking the toll more than others, right? So for someone like me, I have maybe a 5, 6 year old boy, and then there's another person, Rose, who just gave birth. Who is going to feel this more? That could be her. Okay, so for her, we have to actually be flexible around, make sure that sometimes we take over her tasks, and also there's also the space for open and communications too as well. And then we'll also encourage to put on screen monetizing, right? So after every day, I know that your phone is going to tell you that, oh, you spend this number of time on your screen. So probably you should work on it, right? And then there were parts that we use digital tools like our health, eye health and stuff like that to monitor our heart, our pressure. And so when you see a little issue, make sure that you are running into the hospital. And then there's also the place for feedback, okay, random survey, follow-ups, okay, dig deeper, make sure why is it that a normal developer who works at this pace all of a sudden is not performing anymore? There could be a reason. And there was this time my bosses had a meeting with one of them, and it turns out that he was going through a family challenge during the pandemic. And we didn't know that if they had not had the chance to take feedback from him. And I think he also brought us together. Instead of different departments, we kind of feed into each other and working together. So I think these are some of my experiences from my side.
Okay, perfect. So, I mean, quite insightful one Joseph shared on work wellness. It is very much critical that we really need to redefine the culture of work within our ecosystem because sincerely, so far so good that I know of a lot of work rewards for time and not for productivity, not for quality work, right? And that has to change, right? If we say we want to be digitalized or digitized, right? We need to begin to look into productivity against work time or hours, right? And it's a critical role for bosses or senior executives to really look into, because then if you are rewarding your professionals or your main employees as a result of the amount of time they spend working, are you actually getting value to your customers or your consumers for that amount of time they spend working, right? And if you look at European international organizations or corporations, right, you realize that they very much critically pay attention to work wellness and just having that atmosphere where employees can actually do good work and produce a lot without spending so much time, right? Speaking about that, how we incorporate and work wellness at Digital Times Africa is it's quite exciting because I work with a very young team and a very small team. Well, we're supposed to cover, we have a publication that covers the entire African continent, right? And how do we get that done? One thing that's big for me is that I like my team to actually soak in the work and understand the quality of work we need to produce, right? And go ahead and do that. Yeah, sometimes it's very much engaging and you need to like put in your all, but then when they need to take rest, I know that they need to take rest and I let them take their rest, right? I sit in a position where sometimes senior executives do not accept that because, oh, you have to be at work. It's 9 a.m., you close at 5 a.m., but come on, right? Coming to work at 9 a.m. and closing at 5 a.m. is necessarily guarantee productivity. So that has to be redefined, right? I want to work in an environment where whether you come to work at 9 or 10 or 11, right? Once you're at work or you come with whatever you've been assigned to do, there is something valuable that can be seen, right? And not just having you sit down there, burn out 9 to 5, trying to get something done, probably don't understand it. There's no chance for you to go learn because once your boss walks in and see you probably watching YouTube, they figure that, oh, you're watching cartoons, things like that. But all of this has to really be factored in because unless we change the work culture and the dynamics for Africa institutions, African organizations, there is no way we're going to be able to really like sit in on the digital bandwagon. No, it's not going to work, right? So that's how we do that. We allow people to actually freely express themselves and take time off when they need it, because it's very important. We cannot be in all their lives and understand what they're all going through at the same time, at a period of time. But we encourage open communications and then let people really share how they feel. When they are burning out, we also try to see how we can assist them by talking, getting to know, okay, what can we do to help you work better? Because at the end of the day, you want quality results, not just time.
Thank you, Joseph. I'm going to ask a follow-up question to, again, all of you. Just, I realized that we're answering the question and we're pretty focused on the wellness bit, but I also just thought of, so if I'm a business and I have a lot of, I pay everybody with cash, I have all my worker information scattered around my office, I really have no central source of data, right? And I come to you and say, I want to start automation, I want to start digitalization. What are some of the first things that I would need to start thinking through to find the right tools or to be able to prepare myself to actually begin digitalizing my business? And again, this is for any of you.
Okay, so I'm going to speak from the HR aspects with regards to digitalization, because at OML, it's one of our key strengths that we were able to, one of the new products we brought out post-COVID and even during the COVID period, we realized that a lot of businesses were sort of off the pace, and we had to put in a lot of digitization with regards to, especially to the HR department. And that's what I'm going to speak to, because that's where I operate. So we had to put in a lot. And I think Canada came through for us on a lot of fronts, where we had to enroll some of our organizations that we manage their HR departments for them onto the pay structure. We also had to put in a lot of digitalization with regards to approvals, the leave system, trying to get filing done, and these things getting people. So the fun part of it all was when we had our virtual parties. It was fun because we had to inculcate the aspect of digitalization, and we tried to use Slack to get through across. We tried to do so many technology or digitized means to get through to staff. And that was one of the ways to engage people who were home. The engagement bit is because people don't just log in and log off. You have to keep them engaged. We had to bring in people to come and talk about meals, come talk about virtually everything, their timing, HIT speaking about monitoring the rate, your pulse, and all those things, because we had to put those checks and balances in place so that we know when you are getting off the hook, we know what to do to you. And we just had to speak to the employees for them to understand. So this aspect of digitization is very central to all aspects. And even people are scared now that with the coming in of AI and a lot of things, people are going to be laid redundant. I promise you, it's only going to get better with digital media or digitalization. Thank you.
I think if I can add to what Nia said, right? What businesses need to know or need to do is at upper management, you really need to begin to embrace digital tools. And I'm saying that because if you look at the regular organization, I mean, governmental organization and stuff, it's difficult to incorporate change, right? But for a startup, for a new business, you know that your competitors, or to be able to outperform your competitors, you need to either sign up to services they sign up to. And some of the services are freely available online. It's just about learning what works for your business and trying to adopt models that will help you be productive and help your employees actually perform better, right? Sign up to tools. I mean, instead of buying Microsoft 365 for the office suites, why don't you use Google Docs, right? There are some productivity tools out there which are freely available that you can just sign up to, have your people trained and use them, right? That is critical. It's very much important, because I know you're paying people, but then if you don't invest into the business or the processes to help the business perform, then the people you are paying will just be doing work over and over and over again, but then you can see the value.
Yeah. Okay. So coming in shortly, just like a second, there's this question that I ask business owners. Can you really afford not to digitize your business? Really, like, can you even afford it? Understand that, like, in our part of the world, like Africa, we are not really into the internet thing. So far, the data is seen is just about 20%. And even those who are online are not really consistent. But the world is becoming a global village. And you don't even want to say that I'm in Africa, because your competitors, those who are coming into your market, they are not coming with just manual things. They are digitizing their backend. So I think there are a few things that I think about when I'm helping a business to digitize. The first thing is, number one, digitizing your manual process. I think your manual content, that's like your documents, your data, and making sure that I put in the systems in place just so that you are able to collect data. So a classic example will be that after every day, because you want to make decisions on the number of people who have come to your store and all of that, you may want to say, oh, this number of people bought this thing from me, so I wrote it in my notebook, so let me type it one after the other. You can just imagine the amount of time and energy you are going to put into this whole process. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, first of all, change the strategy to start putting things online. So like Kadana Pay, I believe that there's a place where you digitize first, and then you start collecting data from there. You should also consider your budget. And just like Joseph spoke about, your budget is very important, because when we are doing automation for maybe a 5 or 6 figure, we don't care about budget. All we are caring about, like our North Star, is actually features, how the system will work best and increase efficiency and, of course, growth. But when we are working with a small business in Africa, trust me, we are thinking budgets, because you are going to say, okay, use HubSpot or use HubStaff, okay, to manage your staff. And they don't even have maybe $20 to pay a month. And maybe when the number of employees increase, the price is going to increase. Okay, so I am looking at very, very low tech type of low cost and low tech type of things. And you also have to think about your staff. How do you want to look at your staff? If a greater part of your staff is not really digital literate, you may want to start working on that. So these are some of the things. I wouldn't want to go deep into it. So I hope this answers the question.
Yes, thank you very much to the three of you. I think I wrote a number of notes just about, I like what Joseph and I think Charity, you also echoed it, just about looking for what's already existing that you're very right fits within your budget. I like that pro tip about using Google Docs, using Google Sheets. Those are just, if you have a Google email, those are easily services that are accessible to you, right? And so definitely there. And also just thinking through, I like Charity said, the very basic step of whatever you have on paper, like how do you just, first of all, convert that onto like sit into a software or sit into something, and then we can build up on that process. So thank you guys very much for that.
A quick one, Dido.
Yes, Nee.
With regards to digitalization, one key aspect we are missing out is the data. And when it comes to well-being, even with regards to employee well-being, we still need to work with data. So as organizations, as businesses, as entrepreneurs, we should not forget the aspect that data collection brings to digitalization. Charity already mentioned that you need to find out which kind of data you are going to use, whether your employees are able to sort of read or sort of explain the kind of data you have. A typical example is we have a client who has semi-literate kind of employees. This is a perfect example for you to, as management, sit and decide to digitalize. So we've digitalized their operations with regards to the HR department. So they are doing all their attendance, their leave, everything is through digital means. And we had to rope them in gradually. And because at a point you realize you need this data to sort of do analysis, find out where the business is, what you need to bring in on, where am I struggling. this analytics that we are talking, HR analytics every day, people are saying the analytics. It's all about the data gathering. And trying to digitize gives you a platform to get access to raw data and then churn out reports, which in turn we are going to use to improve the organization or your business that you are running. So people should not forget the element of data collection in digitalization. Thank you.
Thank you, Nee. Thank you also for bringing up that aspect of data. That is really, I agree, the most critical part, right? And so thank you very much for that. And just in a sense of keeping data collected, keeping history and record, I think a lot of businesses really can't always tell you where they are right now. But I think it's very true that it's hard to sort of do a projection or sort of do a backward analysis of where did we come from, where are we, what is our employee count, what are employee strengths. I feel like people typically don't know that knowledge off the top of their head. And the ways in which they can find out that information is also very protracted because they don't have a centralized source of data to easily refer to. So thank you very much for that. I have a final round of questions for all the three of you. Thank you so much. I feel like the wealth of your experience has really been showing through as you're answering these questions. I've been taking notes throughout just to think about how I can even feedback some of these things back into Kadana myself. So my final round of questions, let me see. Where do you see to be the future of business digitalization? Where do you see to be the future of worker wellness? I'll go ahead and throw in the other question as well. So as a business, keeping in mind like where business digitalization is going, keeping in mind where worker wellness is going, what should I be striving for as my North Star? How can I sort of position myself to be able to make use of all of the tools available to me? I hope my question is clear.
Definitely. Okay, so let me come in with that. There's just a lot, but then so without the willingness, let me start it this way. Without the willingness to invest and rapidly adopt, even for African businesses, okay, of all sizes, we are going to face a very, very real threat of becoming increasingly irrelevant. Okay, and even like we say something in our company VGC, compete on the world stage and win is something that we put as a big North Star, because all we are trying to say is that, okay, so if you are a business in Africa, you can compete good with a business maybe in North America or South America or Europe or where. And that we feel that digitization, or we know that digitization is at the forefront of it. Right? So you face a threat of becoming irrelevant to society. And now let me give you another statistics recently about an African e-commerce that has about 80% of their sales outside of Africa, because of course the buying power in African economy is not that good. And then trade issues and stuff, there's not so much of intra-trade and stuff. So you want to use digital means to stay ahead of the curve and stuff like that. Okay. But we know that only about 20% are on the internet, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, in Africa, let me put it this way. In Africa, the future of digitalization, as we all see on Kadana Pay, is focused on fintech. Okay, let me put it in general that it's going to focus around some of the biggest problems that we face. Okay, so problems like payment, which fintech is coming in, payment like food scarcity, that is what Agric is coming in, payment, industries like health tech, HIV, COVID-19, and all of that, because where the biggest problems are where the biggest innovations are, because as we are moving also, the world is becoming a global village. And so these are some of the trends in the future. And I feel that, of course, it's not that big in Africa, but I think we should be watching out for stuff like that. So like we all spoke about, there will be some kind of trend in data analytics. Okay, more and more businesses are beginning to see the effect or the negative effect of bad data, or not even collecting data in their business. Right now, if you ask an average business person that how many people, like, of course, yeah, how many people have bought in the past? You don't know. Oh, I've had a lot of people buying from me. How many? You don't know, because you haven't stored any data. Okay, and I even wanted to touch points about how we can connect WhatsApp, because a lot of businesses are doing WhatsApp and that it ends and they don't try to even save it anywhere or anything. Okay, there will be distractions in AI and machine learning, especially in sales and marketing, which I mainly dominate. There will be in finance. Okay, there will also be some form of increase in customer success measurements. The core of every digital business strategy is that companies will really become smart in reaching out to customers who are mobile and also like on smart devices. Okay, so there is a talk of customer data platforms like CDPs, which are moving away from CRMs that we normally know and maybe cookie-based type of things, you see. So the whole idea of CDPs are to have like an integral system, okay, for the customer. So we're integrating one for a 5-figure company, and you could literally pick one customer and see the different touch points. In the end, we are able to at least predict the customer journey just so that we can market or sell better to that customer. Okay, there's also in the future and now, there's also the increase in digital security, because we all know that like because of remote working, a lot of systems and stuff have moved online. There also is a cyber attack. Recently, we heard of the cyber attack on a crypto system, which I think about 600 million, a lot of money. And the guy returned only just a portion of it. Right. So startups, I was told that an average cost of a startup building a robust security system to combat the amount of cyber attacks in the system is just around about 84,000. And that's big. We all know that already. Okay, and that is not really like maybe realistic for a business and stuff. Okay, so in the future, the security and companies are moving towards like the DevOps or the DevSecOps, like where all departments are working together instead of maybe silo types. We see there's increase of cyber professionals, there's increase in AI face recognitions, increase in smart home technology automation systems, followed by IoT, that's the Internet of Things, and they are security focused. Okay, there's also the increase in contactless payments like e-wallets and mobile payments too as well. And it will interest you to know that Visa has an increase, a 60% increase in just tap and pay during the COVID season. And we all know how all these digital guys became billionaires and trillionaires just during the COVID season. Okay, there's also a lot of innovation around agriculture, like future farming technologies. And of course, there's also a lot of improvement in remote work and the use of cloud technology. So these are some of the things that you see as the future of business digitalization. Now, when it's about maybe worker wellness, okay, I'm thinking around support. A company in the future, a company that revolves around wellness, like our wellness experts will say, a company that is so much involved in wellness, creating solutions that are really supportive and creates a community engagement. People are celebrated and also recognizing problems like burnout and making sure that policies are put in place. Policies like shut your device down at this time, or there are policies we don't talk to each other at this time so that people don't carry work home. Okay, so in a way to support workers and their wellness also, or implement digital strategies in work, there's also the introduction of low-code or even no-code platforms. So you can literally have a software where you don't code nothing, but you have the systems work for you, right? So SAS, like the software that Kadana has is some kind of example. So all you're doing is to put your systems inside of it and then just get the results and just taking away repetitive thing, exactly what Kadana Pay is all about. And there's a lot of cloud and quantum edge computing that is helping workers to work from home. You see, workers to work from home, and then also give the amount of concentration efficiency that the work or maybe the company would be needed. And also I kind of the listening tools. So listening tools like some softwares or some like concentrated software have a way of detecting something apart from illness. They can detect that based on your facial recognition, you are not well or something, something like that. And there's also like data we talk about, there's also the increase of data analytics and collection of data. And I think that Africa, we are somewhere down there, but I'm not going to rule us out. I see companies who are doing their best in that area. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, let me just say this, and I'll allow me to come in, right? Charity has spoken a lot, and I think she hits the point home. But talking about the North Star in the areas of business digitalization and wellness, right? I think it's about people first and about your consumers, right? That's one. And in everything that I said, I think one thing we are missing out is you, the individual, you play a critical role in business digitalization. Whoever you are as an employee, as a new person, a new staff, someone who's like coming up to become a great person working in any organization, you play a critical role to business digitalization. And that's the future, right? If you don't think of yourself first and how you can groom yourself to be able to adapt digital tools or adapt work within the digital ecosystem, right? You're not primed for employment. No one should have you work for them. So talking about business digitalization, right? Every business right now is looking for people who have gone a notch higher to attain experiences around how digital would help, right? If you're not in that position, no one should employ you, that's one. And the future work awareness, it is critical. If you do well in adapting digital tools and services, you know how to be productive. It's basic.
With regards to, I'm going to solely dwell on the wellness because I realized they spoke about digitalization and Charity did a fantastic job. But with regards to the worker well-being, I'm going to narrow it down to the barest minimum. Now we are looking at opportunities for businesses to sort of improve it. It is supposed to be a deliberate strategy, like I mentioned earlier. Once the organization identifies that this is what we are going to do, it becomes a goal for the employees. How are we going to do that? How are we going to improve and boost that people do this? We have to sort of incentivize it. What are we doing with regards to people joining or picking up this kind of lifestyle? I call it a lifestyle because employee wellness is a lifestyle. Once we are able to sort of incentivize it, we are going to show a sort of investment because as management, we have to invest in this. Not only are we we are also putting our mouth or our money where our mouth is. I think during the COVID, when I was working, there will be times that I would receive a call and then I have to leave my seat, go around, walk about. So it's supposed to be a deliberate act. Employee wellness, we should empower people to also see it as a day-to-day activity. Even when they are no more with the organization, they still keep on doing that. I move around at least 15 minutes with my smartwatch. Once I get the verification, I move around. I encourage people to do that. I sometimes send my friends or colleagues messages. Charlie, you've been sitting for 3 hours, 4 hours. Take a walk around. It's supposed to be a shared activity. In certain organizations, you realize that during the COVID, they will call you and they will have a dance session. I don't know whether some people saw it on LinkedIn. They'll just come, dance, and move around, sort of some activity. And even people were, with regards to current COVID, organizations are not so keen to ensure that their employees go for the jobs because there's some sort of skepticism around. So what are they doing? What you can do is to incentivize this. Okay, whoever takes the job gets about a week holiday, like it was done in the US. You get something, or you get a bonus, or you get some money paid into your account. We also have to focus on personal development. When we are talking remote, how are you focusing on your own well-being as an individual? Get people to come and speak as sort of health fairs, come and do health counseling. Not only, I think people are dwelling so much on financial, how to get your $1 million, how to do this. We have to start figuring out how we are going to live a healthy lifestyle and live after 60 or 80 or whatever. Organizations are now making it a deliberate act to have sort of dietitians, to have sort of for health professionals come in and start speaking to people right when they bring them on at national service or they bring them on at entry level. So by the time you get to mid-level or senior level, you are already accustomed to the way and a healthy lifestyle. Because once you do this, you are moving your organization to the next level. Finally, I want to bust everybody's bubble. Now, with the coming in of the AFCTA, Ghanaians are going to sort of scramble. I'm using that word because they're going to scramble with the people on the continent for jobs. And guess what? In the top 5 African countries with the healthiest lifestyle, Ghana, we don't come near these 5 countries. So as people, we need to ensure that now, if we were seeing Ghana as that Africa map we were drawing in school, now Ghana has moved from that Africa map, that Ghana map to the Africa map. And people are working because of digitalization in Gambia, in Sierra Leone, in Egypt, in South Africa, but they are working for organizations in Ghana. So to be able to keep yourself there, as I want to work, working is not alone going to do it. You have to have that employee wellness mindset to be able to move your organization to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for these insights. Actually, I would say these are just insights into the space and where we should be moving forward to as African and as Ghanaian businesses. So thank you guys so much once again.